Hey guys, Michael Fire and Brilliance, and I have a special episode for you today in our live Geminar. We're going to be going over two types of metals in white color, the differences, the similarities, and the pros and cons. And I'm gonna get right into it for you. Okay, so in today's episode, we'll be talking about white gold versus platinum gold, or rings, or jewelry, whatever. The point is, we're talking about white metals. Okay, specifically today's white versus platinum and the differences are, and hopefully this helps you out, especially if you are in the market to and you're choosing between the two. Okay, so the first thing is I want to go over a few similarities here. What are the similarities of these two metal types? The first one is the metal color, obviously. When people call it white gold, obviously it's not completely white. If you ever seen white metal, it's more of a metallic silver-ish color. Sometimes it can be a bit grayish, but more on the lighter side of things. So we call it white metals, but realistically, it's more of a metallic silverish color. Okay, so those are the white color metals. So in terms of similarities, they do look very similar, unless you are a professional, or unless you actually test it many times. Many people will not know the difference between white gold and platinum by with just the naked eye. All right, so that's the metal color. The next similarity is that both metal type are considered in the family of precious metals. You may say, well, what is a precious metal, right? So precious metals, all that is it's more of a higher end metal. So typically when people make jewelry out of these precious metals, it typically costs a little more than the contemporary metals. So let's go over a few examples of what contemporary metals are versus precious metals. All right, so contemporary metals are cobalt, tungsten, steel, and titanium. These are just a few examples of contemporary metals. Right. So if you've seen men's wedding bands in cobalt, tungsten, steel, and titanium, it's actually very popular. But these are actually more contemporary metals and not considered precious metals. Precious metals typically will cost a little more when you are purchasing jewelry. And precious metals consist of silver, gold, palladium, and platinum. All right. So if you see silver, gold, palladium, and platinum, these are definitely precious metals. All right. So, and today, since we're going over gold, white gold, and platinum, we are specifically speaking about precious metals. All right. So, let's go over the third similarity here. The third similarity is the shine. What is the shine? So all it is how nicely does it shine when you're wearing it, right? So when brand new, white gold tends to shine brighter than platinum, right? However, both are very shiny in general. Eventually, both types of metals would need rhodium plating and to maintain its original shine. So all that basically means is maintenance, right? So anytime you purchase jewelry, especially if you're purchasing white gold or platinum, once a year, I would recommend, obviously, if you don't know already, Fire and Brilliance, we are a jewelry company, but we do recommend that people take it to a jeweler, take their white gold or platinum, especially if they wear it on a daily basis. If you want to maintain that shine, get it rhodium plated. All right. So it's a little different of a difference of a process, but if you take it to a professional jeweler, knowing how to do it, then you will be able to basically make it nice and new again. All right. So that said, let's go ahead and go over the differences between the two metals. Now that's before I had go over the differences. If you guys do have any questions, we can do a quick Q&A at the end of this live stream. Then I'll be more than happy to go over it with you. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, we can do a quick Q&A. It could be about this subject or any other subject. If I do know about the subject, then I'll go over the Q&A. If not, then I'll definitely get back to you at a later point in time. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and go over the differences between the two metals here. Number one is the durability. Now, both metals are extremely durable. Okay, they're very durable. However, each has its own unique benefit. So let's go ahead and break it down here, right? The durability, if you go into the next slide here, the durability of white, or of platinum rather, is that it's heavier, it's more dense, and slightly more durable than gold, slightly.
Okay, so it's not exactly 100%, much more durable than gold, but slightly more durable than gold. However, gold is more malleable and scratch resistant. Now, it does not necessarily mean that neither of them can't scratch. Obviously, it is a metal, and any type of metal, if you own a car, you have pots and pans or anything like that, you know that scratches. So even if it's a precious metal, yes, it still can scratch, and therefore, again, one of the suggestions that we do have here and recommendations is that once a year, especially if you wear your jewelry quite often, to take your rings or jewelry to a jewelry shop and get it polished, cleaned, and rhodium plated to leave us a white metal. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. The next difference is that it is hypoallergenic. Okay, so Brian, if you could zoom out of that for me, I'll zoom into it, I'm sorry. So pure metals such as 24K gold, and I'll go ahead and go break that down for you in a bit. But basically, if it's 24K gold, sterling silver, and platinum are considered hypoallergenic metals. Whereas white gold, it's not natural. Okay, it is still gold, but gold is naturally yellow in nature. White gold is mixed with an array of white alloys that may contain nickel and silver to turn it white. So what does this mean? You may be confused. Well, on the left-hand side, you may ask, okay, well, it's saying that 24K gold is hypoallergenic, whereas white gold is not. Aren't they both gold? And why is one hypoallergenic and the other one may cause some skin allergy, especially if you're sensitive to, specific types of metals such as nickel? So let me go ahead and explain that to you. White gold is not natural in nature. Gold in nature, when people do find gold in nature and process it, it's actually in 24. It's called 24K gold, 24 karat gold. That is actually pure yellow metallic gold. Okay, so that's hypoallergenic. Now, in order to make white gold, actually manufacturers will have to actually mix it with white metals to change the color. Some of the white metals may be silver and nickel. Now, nickel, depending on the person, it doesn't always happen. It's actually quite rare, but some people are allergic to nickel. So if there's nickel in the white metals, then it may cause some allergies. So in terms of skin irritation, right? So if you do know that you have an allergy to nickel, then make sure you contact your jeweler, whoever you're purchasing your jewelry from, and we will let you know whether or not the nickel is inside of the white metals. Or, for example, here at Fire and Brilliance, we do make white gold in different types of mixtures. So if you're allergic to nickel, we can also make it in different types of white metals as opposed to nickel. Okay. So that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So again, this is just an emphasis. If white gold contains nickel, then it can cause allergic reactions for those that are sensitive to nickel. Again, as it is quite rare, it doesn't always happen, but every now and again, some people are allergic to nickel, and therefore, you may want to ask again your jeweler, and if you're working with us here at Fire and Brilliance, then we'll let you know. All right, so and that said, let's go move to the next one. The natural occurrence is another difference between platinum and white gold. If you could zoom into it, Brian, both are rare, but platinum is rarer. All right. So 1 ounce of platinum may require the processing of 10 tons of ore. It is said to be 35 times rarer than gold. All right, so this is the reason why when you purchase jewelry, many times platinum jewelry will be more expensive than gold jewelry. Okay, but that's not always the case. It really depends on who you work with and where you go. But especially if you're working with gold that is more pure towards the 24K, for example, 18K, 22K, 24K. Sometimes gold jewelry can be just as expensive as because of the amount of gold requirement made or gold required to make that piece of jewelry. Okay, so that's not always the case, but if you are going to purchase platinum, most of the times platinum jewelry will be more expensive than gold. So Let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. So what are the differences? Let me go ahead and break this down. The differences between platinum and white gold based on purities, it's usually there's a breakdown when you go to a jewelry store, or if you're purchasing jewelry, that's something that you may know. Sometimes there's a stamp on it that says 0.90, 0.95. Sometimes it's only 90 or 95, and sometimes it's 900 and 950. It all means the same thing. It means is it's a 90% purity of platinum. There's a 10% mix of other white metals. So many times it's going to be cobalt, right? And 90, or it's going to be 95% platinum and another 5% mix. Whereas white gold, the way you want to think about gold in general, again, gold is yellow in nature. 24K is pure gold, so that's 100%. 18K and or anything below 24K is not pure gold. Therefore, there's a mixture. And the way you will do the math on that to know how much gold or gold content is in your jewelry, all you have to do is get the number divided by 24. So, for example, if it's 18K, then take 18 divided by 24. That means you have a 75% amount of gold in that piece of jewelry and a 25% mix of other metals such as silver, nickel, or what have you, whatever the mixture is for the manufacturer. Okay. Same thing for 14K and 10K. Just take 14 divided by 24 or 10 divided by 24, and it will show you how much gold is in the content of that piece of jewelry. So that's pretty much how you do it, and that's how you will understand the purity when it comes to metal types in your jewelry. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to the next slide here. Now, in terms of pricing, I did go over this a little bit with you earlier. In terms of the cost of maintenance on platinum is also, or platinum jewelry tends to be much more expensive than white gold jewelry. The cost of maintenance on platinum is also more cost than white gold. This is due to the requirement of more expensive materials and craftsmanship required to work on platinum metals. Now, what do I mean by this? Obviously, I've already kind of gone over that platinum jewelry usually is more expensive than white gold jewelry. But in terms of maintenance, when you go to a servicing company or your local jewelry servicing company, let's just say you need to size a ring, right? Hypothetically, let's just say you need to size it up, right? Because your finger size change. So when you size it up, what they'll have to do is many times they'll have to cut the bottom of the ring and attach a piece of additional piece of metal or platinum, because platinum is slightly more expensive than white gold. The cost to service the platinum ring typically will cost more, and on top of that, the craftsmanship required to work on platinum, it does require a person. Even if one jeweler A versus jeweler B, if jeweler A only knows how to work on white gold, then obviously he or she may not know how to work on platinum. And if she doesn't know how to work on platinum, then it may require more experienced jeweler, because it does require a different technique, different types of understanding, different types of heat, and different types of skill sets in order to work with platinum. So it is slightly different than white gold. And therefore, if you, don't be surprised if you have platinum jewelry and you need to get it maintenance, that the cost of maintaining jewelry when it comes to platinum is a little more than white gold. That is actually quite normal. All right. So that's it. That's the price of jewelry. So what do you think? If you can zoom that in, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the similarities and differences, pros and cons of two metals? Would you pay for platinum, or are you okay with white gold? Okay, so the one thing that I do have to say about white gold is over time, it's actually quite normal that you will see the white gold, that if you wear it for a couple of years and do not get it maintained or get it rhodium plated, you may see it look as if it has a little tarnish to it, where it has a little bronze color, a little yellowish color that will appear. That is actually quite normal. It doesn't mean it's fake. Okay, that's a misconception that many people actually have. It's because gold is actually yellow, right? So in order to make it white, they had to mix it with white metals, and then to really make it look nice, they have to clean it up, polish it, and rhodium plate it. Okay, so if the plating goes away, then eventually that yellow gold will show again. And therefore, it has that kind of a bronze look to it, slightly bronze look. It's still very white, but you'll see it after wearing a ring for about 2 to 5 years without having it maintained. Okay, so that's actually quite normal for anyone that's wondering. But you could always double check and take it to your local jeweler and get it tested if you're concerned of whether or not it's real gold or not. But that said, it's very normal for white gold to look that way. That's the reason why it's extremely important that if you are purchasing white gold, to get it maintained once a year, and then you never even have to worry about it. Okay, so I really hope that this really answers any of the questions that you may have about white gold and yellow gold. Oh, I'm sorry, white gold and platinum. And if you are interested in more videos like this, then let me know. Make sure you leave in the comment section below after this video, because we do take everything into account, and we can always make a video just for you the next time around, right? So that said, it looks like there's a person here, that's asking, why is platinum harder to work with? And I hope I just answered that for you. Platinum is harder to work with is because it requires a different type of skill set and different type of heat, right? Every metal and every gemstone can only take so much heat. Every type of metal would require a specific amount of heat to melt the metal as well, right? So a platinum requirement will require rather a certain amount of heat than that of gold or white gold or even silver or cobalt or whatever metal that you intend to use. Okay, so that said, hopefully that answers your questions. And if you guys have any other questions, leave in the comment section below. Hopefully I could answer it next week in the Q&A. And if you are wondering, or if you again do want me to go over anything else, especially if it comes to metals, if you want me to go over white rose and yellow gold, I could definitely do that as well. But that said, if you haven't checked out last week's episode, okay, last week's episode, we went over East and West designs. Make sure you check it out here. Again, guys, we are Fire and Brilliance, and we are a jewelry company. If you are in the market searching for white and platinum metals, make sure you check out our website at fireandbrilliance.com. We have thousands and thousands of designs. We have designed it, many from scratch, many from many vendors all across the world. We have many different metal types, from platinum, rose gold, yellow gold, white gold. In this case, if you're interested in white gold and platinum, you don't know which one to pick, make sure you reach out to us, and one of our representatives will be more than happy to help you out. Again, if you are into East-West designs, make sure you click here. It won't show right away. Right after this live Geminar, you can click on that, and then it'll take you to that video. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.